I'm in Tasmania again, and I'm very lucky and privileged to be joined by Ken Orr, the longest serving trout guide in Tasmania and possibly Australia, maybe even the world.
Who knows? Who knows? It's 31 years, so if anyone can beat that, let us know.
That's a fair effort. And what did your mum and dad say 31 years ago? And he said, Mum, I'm going to be a trout fishing guide.
Yeah, well, they weren't impressed. It was like telling them I was going to be a rock star. They just totally shocked by it, and because there wasn't an industry. There was no such thing as guided fishing. Australians weren't paying for it, and there was only one guide, Noel Jetson, who was doing a little bit out of his shop at Cressy.
Do you find that men particularly, because men don't like to be told, do you think some men struggle with the concept of having a guide and someone paying for your information for you to tell them how to catch a fish?
I think that's the way it was, Paul. It's not anymore. I think they understand time is limited these days, and you can take the shortcut by hiring a guide, getting the local information, where to go, what to use, and put you right on the spot, so you're not wasting that time, which is precious these days.
Absolutely. If you look at the cost of any trip nowadays, travel's not cheap. If you can put me on the spot and I can catch a fish within half a day, even one fish, rather than spending the whole week looking around, that's a valuable dollar I've spent.
Well, it is, and I do the same. If I go overseas, New Zealand, America, I'll hire a guide just to get the feel of what's going on, what flies are happening at that point in time, because it changes on a weekly basis, even on a daily basis.
Now, we're at Twin Lakes in southern Tasmania. It's a stocked impoundment, but the fish are still pretty switched on. The reason I got you here today, Ken,
they are switched on because the fish have actually grown here. They haven't been stocked as large fish. These fish have been put in as fingerlings and yearlings and have grown to the size they have.
So they weren't put in like this and you come out and catch them?
No. These are wild fish. They came from wild stock, the Great Lake fish.
Yep.
And they've grown in here to these enormous sizes. So it's not a put and take type big fishery. This is a true trophy grown fishery.
Well, as I was saying, two reasons for your services. One, I need some help with fly selection.
Yep.
Secondly, when I cast, I sort of look like I'm disco dancing.
Yeah. Well, I've been told all about your casting, so we'll have a look at that today.
Can you help?
I can usually help.
I tell you, you'd want to be good.
Yeah, well, I can try.
Let's give it a crack. I suggest you stand on that side.
Yeah, I'll do that.
And have you got your Ned Kelly hat to put on?
And I'm putting the glasses on, Paul, because I just don't know where that fly's going to end up.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, okay, we've put a sparkle leech on this morning, Paul. It's this water's a bit dirty. We had that wind a few days ago. It stirred the water up and it hasn't settled yet. So this will give us a bit of depth. It's got the bead head. We've got a sparkle through the body and the tail, which will get the light in this sunny morning. So it should be able to be picked up. Nice dark shape. It'll pulse through the water. It'll look good to a trout, I'm sure.
So it's a wet fly, and when you say
fly.
Sparkle leech, does it actually imitate a leech, or is that just a fancy name?
It's a leech pattern. It's an American leech pattern that we've sort of changed around a little bit ourselves. My fly tyer, Shane, has developed that one for me.
Yep.
Just something that is for early morning, late in the afternoon, dirty water, somewhere where you need a big, dark lure type attractor.
So I'll show you how bad I am, and then you can give me some advice. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Now, I'll ask as I go. Strip a bit of line at my feet.
Yeah, pull a bit of line off.
Now, would one trick be not to try and cast too far?
Just cast what's comfortable.
Yep.
And usually what's comfortable is certainly within fish reach.
Okay.
So, and you always start from the lowest possible point with the rod tip. So
like
you
that?
load the rod from the minute you're picking it up.
Okay.
And bigger flies, you've got to slow it down, let the loop, but work the rod. That's it, flick the rod, flick the tip. That's better. Out we go. See, that's a good cast. You're in a fish covering area.
Yep.
There's no worries with that at all. The thing you did wrong was trying to get all the line in the air. You don't need to get all the line in the air. If you've got the rod loaded, you'll shoot as much line from your hand as you've got in the air.
So you're saying that I shouldn't have done as many false casts?
Exactly.
Right.
We've got a following wind. It's going to carry the line a bit. Shoot the line rather than put it all in the air.
So there's that much line left in the water, which is probably about maybe 15 feet off the rod tip.
Yeah.
Is that when I'd pick it up?
Well, you pick it up in such a way that you bring the fly to the surface. You have your rod tip low to the water as low as you can. You bring it in, you're making them chase it, and then you just reel it to the top. Make sure there's nothing after it, because
Okay.
if they think it's going to get away from them, and the surface is getting away,
They might
quite
just
often
nail.
they'll just roll on it when you do that. So, and then it's just into the air, and back we go, and back out there we go. When you're working it, just make the rod tip work as well. Just offset the rod tip a little bit to the line. It gives a little more action to the fly, but also it gives you some shock absorption if that fish take's going away from you.
Yep.
Because if you're going straight down the line like this and they're going away, you're just as likely to part.
Yep.
So just offset the tip a little bit, make them work. Just strip it, strip, strip. Bring it to the surface, make sure there's nothing chasing it. And then we get it back out there again. And away we go.
That's sort of how it looked when I did it.
Yeah, it was something